Dude, congrats on a great film. I want to hear from you. When your Batman enters the movie, what are some of the biggest lessons you think he has to learn?
I mean, it's an unusual thing because I think he puts on the suit. Bruce puts on the suit, and he's created this alter ego to kind of. He's compelled to do it to citizens. It's going to be a very complicated answer.
I'm here for it, man. I love how enthusiastic you are about this. Like, you named that you watch Mask of Phantasm and stuff, so I love hearing you talk about Batman.
Yeah, I mean, there's a thing. I think it's weird because when he starts doing it, he genuinely thinks. I mean, the whole thing between saying who's the real Bruce, Batman or Bruce, whatever. Like, I think he starts the movie sort of thinking that Bruce doesn't exist whatsoever. And he truly believes he's someone else when he puts on that suit. And I was trying to do that in the way he moved, and there's this kind of like, you're almost, you're in a fugue state. You don't even know where you're at. And I think he kind of realizes through pain and kind of, he doesn't want to realize that you can still have the same pain you felt when your parents died again. Like, no matter how much you want to say, I'm only Batman, it's like, you cannot be, it's just impossible. So like, that's kind of what his lesson is.
Sir, welcome to the Batman premiere. I'm assuming you've seen the movie now. What did you think of it?
I loved it. I think Matt's done the most incredible job. I mean, just phenomenally detailed, beautiful work. Phenomenal.
We're going to get you Rotten Tomatoes approved with quotes like that. I love it. So listen, I want to hear from you. As in the film, Batman is in his early years. That means Alfred is in his early years. Yeah. What kind of dynamic does that establish for your character with Robert's Bat?
Well, that's very interesting, and that's the crux of, I think, what is different about this version, of their relationship, which is that they're not in tune with each other. There's a lot of antagonism coming from Bruce because he's trying to break away and form his ideology about what Batman is, and that is actually, Alfred is struggling to be the mentor and fill the void that he knows he's got to fill, and he's not capable. Alfred's not really capable of expressing emotion, but he's called on to actually keep an eye on this young man who's destroying himself, and he's watching this happen. And so it's a very fractured, tense relationship that we have at the beginning of this.
Oh yeah, and I love how I forgot my question. This is the second time it's ever happened to me. I get so lost in what you're saying. We talked to Comic-Con, and I forget my next question. You're the only person that's ever done that to me. It was about getting hands-on. Alfred, they're very different. Actually, no, I want to skip that question. Robert Pattinson has a very distinct presence as Batman. What is it like when he steps on set in a suit versus when he steps on set as Bruce?
I mean, that's what's so incredibly extraordinary about what he's doing with this character, is that the vulnerability and the sort of self-destruct mode that he's in when he's playing Bruce, and then when he comes on as Batman, and there's that he's a powerhouse, and he's in control and dominating, and it's just the balance. I don't think I've ever seen the contradiction between those two characters played so strongly, and the values played so strongly between the two characters.
I want to hear about when you're on set with Pattinson and he's wearing a Batman suit versus dressed as Bruce Wayne. How does the presence in the room change? Does it change anything about what you're doing?
Well, sure. Have you seen the film?
I have.
Yeah, so Batman has a special place in my character's heart.
Yes.
So, Rob and that suit and the image of Batman had a special place on my wall for most of that shoot. So, and Bruce Wayne, a very different feeling. So, from my point of view, pretty big difference.
So, what did you do? Because I know when you're playing a character who is the movie's villain, you have to convince yourself he's not a villain. What did you do to get in the headspace to say, I'm on this guy's side, I'm on my character's side?
Well, Matt Reeves and I initially spoke about hero and villain and the two sides of trauma, and because Batman is born of trauma from his parents' death, and he's still wrestling with that, especially in this film, I think. And so maybe is the Riddler in this film. So that's the kind of core emotional seed from which everything else grows. And I think that's how you can find your way in, and then unfortunately, it goes where it goes.
Yeah, is it approved?
Yeah, good. I like it.
Carmine Falcone approved.
Yeah, very good.
So have you seen the Batman yet, sir?
Yeah, I have seen it.
And what did you think the first time you saw it?
You ask my son. He saw it with me. You want to ask my son?
We can ask him. Look, come here.
This is Diego. This is my son.
Diego, Brandon, nice to meet you. I want to get your first impressions of the Batman now that you've seen it.
I'm allowed to say I've seen it?
Yeah, you can
It's fantastic. I mean, I'm going to see it again. That's all you need to know.
What did you think of Carmine Falcone? And I don't want any family bias here.
I like to think I'm normally a pretty harsh critic, but he did a great job. It was a really good character.
I can imagine. He's wiggling his way out of here. I got to ask him what it was like to work with Pattinson, what it's like to stand across from the Batman.
Oh, did you get your thing?
I did. You got a pretty firm seal of approval there.
left.
You don't have to put him up.
I wanted to give him, I don't want to hear what he had to say.
He can come home tonight. He's allowed at home. So listen, I want to ask, you have a couple really cool scenes, some with Bruce Wayne, some with Batman. When you're opposite Robert Pattinson and he's playing both those characters, how different is the vibe on set from that presence?
But it's different. It's different. Yeah, it's different. Yeah. When you see that outfit, you're like, what? Yeah. Bruce Wayne is like, okay, he's a guy. Yeah.
You got a guy dressed as a bat. There's a real,
with Catwoman too. So yeah.
So I want to hear about, from your perspective, for everybody who hasn't seen the movie yet, how would you describe the relationship between Carmine and Bruce? I want to hear about Selina too, but Bruce first.
Well, it's kind of they have a long history. Yeah. So he's kind of like, I can't say he's part of the family, but he's part of the family. You know what I mean? Maybe an unwanted part of the family, but there's also a connection with power.
Sure. Dylan, good to see you again. Congrats on the Batman.
Thank you. It's great being here.
Have you seen it yet?
I've seen it a couple times.
Man, so I want to hear about the start of this journey, because the Batman, I remember 5-6 years ago, this was like a Ben Affleck movie.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
And then it transformed into Matt took over. Now we have Pattinson. We're finally here. When did this shred of an idea first come to life for you guys?
This was about 5 years ago. Matt came up with a pitch. And then we went on a journey to get a script written, and then we found this great Batman. And then Rob's been with us for 3 years, and then 2 years of making the movie. So it's been, I've never worked on a movie every day for 5 years. So it's been an intense journey, but one that I feel so much gratitude for, and I love.
Oh, dude, you guys crushed it. And I mean, we know this is based on the Long Halloween. On the flight up here today, I was reading Hush. There's so many Batman comics and video games and other movies, just elements of things that come into this while it's still totally fresh. How did you guys kind of look at everything that had been done before in every medium and say, we want to tell the definitive Batman story with this one?
I think Matt wanted to do something personal. He wanted to put Batman in the center of something that we hadn't seen him do. He went on a deep dive with all these comics. You reference Hush and Long Halloween. Jeff Loeb, who wrote Long Halloween, taught Matt how to write screenplays at USC. Frank Miller, of course, year one was super important to us. But really it was about putting Robert at the center of a story and just rocking him to his core.
And we get the Riddler as the first villain for this introductory story. Batman is known for his rogues gallery. Any characters who you guys really are like, maybe that one would be fun if we get to it?
Along the way, of course, we meet Selina Kyle, who's going to turn into Catwoman, and Oz is there, who is going to become, Penguin and the Kingpin at some point, we hope.
That's right. And you mentioned Oz. I know we've heard about various spin-offs and stuff. When these universes start to develop, and this is the start of a new one, do you guys stay involved with everything? Is there different teams looking at everything? Is it constant collaboration?
We're focused on this one Batman working. We want this thing to. We're here. We're excited for the world to see this thing. It opened in Korea yesterday or today. This is about getting this one done right, and then hopefully we're lucky enough to do another one.
And you and Matt have been partners on plenty of films before this one. I love all of them. You guys, especially coming off the Apes movies, huge fan of those. What sort of things did this, the Batman, did it challenge you in new ways? Is it the expectations from fans that are different? What kind of stuff went into it that didn't go into anything you did before?
Yeah, 80 years of Batman just puts a heavy pressure on anybody, and you have to be ambitious when you take a swing on this kind of movie. There's all these great directors that have come before you, and these great Batmen. You got Snyder, you got Nolan, you got Ben, you got Bale, Keaton. It's intimidating, it's daunting. There's moments of terror.
but then you got to just put it behind you and just swing for the fences. And so that's what we tried to do.
I respect the respect you have for all the previous iterations. And my last thing for you, say this is a huge success, which I think it is going to be. Warner Brothers says we want another one. This one took 5 years. How long does it take to make a second movie that lives up to this quality again?
I will go on record saying that it will be less than 5 years.
Charlie, Max, you're in the Batman. I gotta know, when you get the call and they say don't tell anybody, who's the first person you tell?
Well, luckily enough, we got to tell each other first.
Yeah. It was kind of like, we went in for this and we were like, well, we might as well go in for it, right? Whatever. And we did get the call and we both went, oh, and then we were on set. The whole time was kind of...
It happened to be like Christmas Eve that
it
it was clear that it was the Batman and that it looked like it was going to move forward. Because, it's usually an untitled script and the sides aren't from the script, they're from other material.
We read from...
French Connection.
French Connection, yeah. We didn't know what it was. And then they told us and we were like, oh,
Merry Christmas.
Wow. Yeah.
That's probably the best gift you're going to get.
Nice.
You guys have scenes with Bruce and with Batman, which I imagine are two very different days on set.
They are.
Tell me about the experience working opposite Pattinson as Bruce and working opposite Pattinson when he shows up in the suit.
First of all, let me do this one. We did a lot of anytime you make a movie like this, they want to make sure you're ready, primed to go. We did stunt rehearsals for all kinds of fighting techniques, everything. The thing that surprised me most is when we got to meet Batman, Rob as Batman, he was 1,000 times more violent and faster than anything. Like, we were working with these stunt guys, like, bah, 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 like crazy.
He was ferocious. He was. I was going to say kind of the same thing. He's just so committed. He's the nicest guy. Cut is called him the nicest guy, funny guy. Bruce. I don't want to spoil anything in the movie, but it is two very different energetic things to be across from. Yeah. And when he's in the Batman suit, it was like,
Yeah.
It's a little scary.
It's scary. It's legitimately scary.
I'll say you guys, your characters are friends of Penguin. I'll put it that way.
Sure.
How would you describe what it's like working in the crime ring? Like, give me an introduction to your roles here, as much as you can say for everybody who hasn't seen the movie yet.
It's family.
It's something.
It's something. I think I'm just excited for people to get to see the underworld of Gotham. This set.
Gotham is an underworld. Let's just be honest. Yeah.
Do they even have streetlights there?
They flicker a lot.
They flicker.
Yeah.
Only flickering.
Dude, so you have a song in the Batman. So first of all, were you a Batman fan before this work came about? I want to hear about that.
Oh, of course. I mean, I've been a Batman fan since I think I heard about Batman, it's since I was very, very young, so always been a fan, yeah.
Cool. Have you seen the movie yet?
No, so I haven't even seen the scene yet that they used the record in, so I'm very nervous in a way, I'm excited but nervous at the same time.
So what is it like, what do you think it's going to be like when you're watching it and you see the club come on and then the music's playing, and you see Batman going to work to your...
Yeah, it's a dream come true, such a milestone, and it's always been a dream, to have something within a Batman movie, and the opportunity came, and I was just very blessed that they said yes to the song and everything. So I read a little bit about what's happening in that scene, so that's how I was able to make the song. But yeah, seeing in action is going to be tonight. So very nervous in a way,
Hell yeah, that's something. You've collaborated with some amazing, talented artists and people from all around the world. Is it different to collaborate with filmmakers?
Oh, definitely.
What's that experience like? How does it come about?
It's very you can't tell anyone about anything, and you have to I think I had to sign a bunch of things, and it was very, very protective and secretly, as it probably should be, so it was in a way kind of annoying in a way, because I couldn't tell anyone that it was happening, but now it's out, the news are out, so we're celebrating tonight.
You're free to talk about it. I know you're going on tour with Bad Bunny. Mm-hmm. Is he going to teach you any wrestling moves? Are you guys going to go to WrestleMania?
He's been doing that. Randomly on TV, I've been seeing it. But yeah, it's going to be fun. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for a couple of years now, and he came for one of my shows, so I'm excited to join him now on this tour. Yeah, it's going to be a crazy one. Big stadium tour, so.
You're crushing it. You're taking over the world. So as you go into movies, Bad Bunny's going into wrestling. Musicians can really tap into other industries and avenues. Is there anything you haven't done yet that you're like, I want to work there. I want to get a shot at that, to experience that?
another comic book character, hopefully. You know, I'm a big fan. I follow you guys, so I see all the news that's happening, and yeah, it's no, it's great. It keeps me updated when I'm on tour and what I've been missing. I mean, Batman has always been the number one, so I'm not, a big fan of Spider-Man as well, but it's DC night, so let's just celebrate that.
So, how are you feeling about the Batman movie? Because I know you're part of the DC universe. So, how does it feel to watch a new universe debut on the big screen?
It feels amazing. New York City's my home. It feels like Gotham City. I've always thought about it that way. So, I'm really excited to see what Robert does with this rendition.
Oh, dude, I'll tell you, it's very good.
Oh, you've seen it already? Oh, okay.
It was awesome. Now, okay, we got to talk about Batwoman. Your character just went through some intense psyche changes and got a new hair, and he's been redeemed and gone on every path possible. Tell me about how much fun it is to play so many different versions as the show goes on.
Yeah, for me, it's been pretty much like a shape-shifting moment. You never know what, from my hair to the outfits. Yeah. It's like you always get to keep people on their toes. It's been a lot of fun. This is probably the best role I've been able to play thus far I haven't had a long career, but it's just whenever you get to dive in and go so deep and just mess with people on set and not let them know what you're thinking, it's just a lot of fun.
I bet, man. And so when you join a DC property, I think it's different from the other stuff on your resume. The secrecy, the fandom that comes built into it. Oh, yeah. How different is the experience when you're doing the DC universe on CW?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, there's nothing like comic book fans. I feel like you have to know your stuff. When I was going into this, that's what I was nervous about. I wasn't nervous about actually doing the role. I was nervous about what the fans would think. Yeah. So, I had to brush up on my comic book knowledge a little bit, make sure I knew what I was talking about.
So, Batwoman finale's coming up. I know you can't say too much. I know you told Jenna a good bit already, but what can you say that you haven't already said? Tell me something good. Come on.
I hope you enjoy the show.
If the multiverse allowed you guys to cross over with anybody, whether it's from the Arrowverse, whether it's from the Pattinson Patverse, whatever you want to call that, or the DCU with Momoa and Affleck and all them, what actors and characters would you want to see you cross over with?
Honestly, I've always been a fan of the Green Lantern and Aquaman, so being in there would be dope, but also I feel like if I got a chance to be in the next Batman, that would be really freaking awesome.
Manifest.
Yeah. Let's talk about
Just the beginning, then.
Yeah.